How's it going, guys? I'm here to review Too Fast, Too Furious, 2003.
All right, fire them up! It's time for the week to go home. Do it fast, do it furious.
Too Fast, Too Furious, once again, stars Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, and this is the first movie that doesn't have the original cast. It instead brings new people into this movie. It doesn't have Vin Diesel, it doesn't have Michelle Rodriguez, it doesn't have any of those characters, but instead you get Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris and Eva Mendes in this movie, which is really cool. So the plot for this movie revolves, again, Brian O'Connor. This time he is not an undercover cop. He lost his job. He's just now a guy just living life, enjoying street racing, and that's where he bumps into Tej, which is played by Ludacris. Tej is one of the founders of the street racing programs, street racing. He's just a founder of it. Pretty much, he collects people's money. So as he's doing street racing wars, that's when Brian meets Eva Mendes in this movie, which she's the undercover cop. And that's where all the cops started to show up and everybody starts to run away with their cars, and then street racing is over, and then Brian gets caught by the cops, and then it's the same cops that he worked with in the first movie. And this time, and of course you got new characters, new cops, and then this time they're giving him a new task. If he does his task, his record will be clean for letting Vin Diesel go in the first movie. Of course, he can't do this alone, so that's why he's using his childhood best friend, Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson. Of course, their reunion was not so good because Roman Pierce's arrest was pretty much the cause. Like, Brian was the cause for Roman Pierce's arrest. But eventually they get over in the past, and their task is to capture Carter Verone, which he's an Argentinian drug lord, and that's their task. They have to be undercover. They have to pretend like they're working for him. So that's pretty much the premise of this movie: street racing and two guys that's just trying to take down a drug lord with Eva Mendes on the side. And that's the plot of Too Fast, Too Furious in a nutshell. What did I think about this movie? The movie is pretty good for a sequel. A lot of the action scenes or sequences is great. The characters are well written in this movie. Brian O'Connor has more of a chemistry with Tyrese Gibson than Vin Diesel in the first movie, in my opinion. So their duo in this movie was pretty good. I like this new character, Tyrese Gibson, which is Roman Pierce. He's pretty funny. He, like, I've seen all the movies. He's like pretty much the comedic clown in this whole franchise, which is pretty funny. And of course, we can't forget that Ludacris is in this movie. He plays Tej. Tej is cool, and I like his little big afro. The soundtrack is good. Like I said, the action is good. The drama between these characters is good. The interactions, the street racing scenes is top notch, but the CGI was a little bit off again, just like the first movie. It's a little bit cheesy, but it does, you do get used to it every time you watch it. So the street racing scenes is pretty cool. The characters are well written. Well, at least some were well written.
Keep your eyes on the road, cowboy.
Getting nervous? He did the stare and drive on you, didn't he? He got that from me.
Because there are other side characters in this movie that are just not well written, but thankfully they don't have much screen time. That's a good news. But throughout this movie, this doesn't take place in Los Angeles like in the first movie. This takes place in Miami, and Roman Pierce and Brian O'Connor, man, they have a full wardrobe full of clothes and styles, man. They be like in every scene and every sequence, like, I'm being exaggerated, like, now and then they'll change their outfits and shit like that. It's pretty noticeable, which is funny, but some of their outfits are pretty cool. So yeah, like, the early 2000s Fast and Furious movies are pretty much the best for me, because these early movies focus strictly on the street racing, just street racing only, and pretty much gangsters, cartels, drug lords, you name it. It focuses on those people. But as the franchise gets bigger and badder, it just gets more complicated. There's more bombs, there's more military people, there's more choppers, there's like tanks, cars in space, you name it. It just gets more ridiculous after the fifth one. I'll get to that later. But yes, the first couple of movies was strictly about street racing. Well, even though it's one of the better sequels, it's an enjoyable sequel to watch. It's pretty good. Is it better than the first one? No, I still think the first one's better, but this is a worthy sequel in my opinion. Of course, it doesn't have all the cast from the original except for like Paul Walker, like I said, but it's still a worthy sequel. So if I had to give this movie out of 10, I would rate this movie 7.7 out of 10. It was enjoyable. Not as good as the first one, but pretty enjoyable. So that was my quick review of Too Fast, Too Furious 2003. Please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next Fast movie.
What's his deal?
I got a problem with authority.
You just need to chill out. You ready for this?
Come on, man. Guns, murderers, and crooked cops. I was made for this, bruh.